time has come to build a new majority that can lead this nation out of a long political darkness.
Democratic presidential nominee Barack Obama makes lots of promises, but it's clear that throughout his campaign, the Illinois senator has consistently backpedaled on his word. The growing list of Obama flip-flops goes all the way back to the beginning of his campaign. In October of last year, Obama created a firestorm when he said he stopped wearing the American flag pin on his lapel after 9/11 because in his mind, it was an empty substitute for patriotism.
I won't wear that pin on my chest. Instead, I'm going to try to tell the American people what I believe will make this country great. And, hopefully that will be a testimony to my patriotism.
But then a few months later, somehow the flag pin was back on his lapel. But that was just the beginning when it came to campaign financing. The senator also could not keep his word.
I would be very interested in pursuing public financing because I think not every candidate is going to be able to do what I've done in this campaign.
But a statement posted on Obama's website a few months later said something completely different.
We've made the decision not to participate in the public financing system for the general election.
Probably the most glaring Obama flip-flop was over his association with the Reverend Jeremiah Wright, the senator's pastor of over 20 years. When Wright's explosive remarks first came to light, the senator refused to denounce him.
As imperfect as he may be, he has been like family to me. I can no more disown him than I can disown the black community. I can no more disown him than I can disown my white grandmother.
But a few choice sound bites and 2 press conferences later, Obama did a complete 180.
Michelle and I told Reverend Otis Moss that we were withdrawing as members of Trinity.
But hold on, we're just getting warmed up. Some of the Illinois senator's biggest blunders have been about policy issues. Obama began his campaign by promising to immediately begin withdrawing troops out of Iraq if he were ever elected president.
I will bring this war to an end in 2009. I opposed this war in 2002. That's why I will bring this war to an end in 2009.
But it seems that just a few months later, Obama was telling a very different story.
I've always said that the pace of withdrawal would be dictated by the safety and security of our troops and the need to maintain stability.
And there's more. Since the beginning of his political career, Obama has been a staunch supporter of gun restrictions. But after the Supreme Court struck down the Washington, D.C. handgun ban, Obama suddenly changed his position.
I have said consistently that I believe the Second Amendment is an individual right, and that was the essential decision that the Supreme Court came down on. And it also recognized that even though we have an individual right to bear arms, that right can be limited by sensible, reasonable gun laws.
Obama also did an about-face on funding for religious organizations. In an effort to court evangelicals, Obama vowed to expand President Bush's faith-based initiative.
I believe that change comes not from the top down, but from the bottom up. And few are closer to the people than our churches, our synagogues, our temples, and our mosques.
So Obama said he supports expanding Bush's policy of sending tax money to religious groups that provide community service, but that's the same program that liberals have complained about for years. And the flip-flops, they just keep on coming. Back in June, Obama voted in favor of the new FISA bill, which exempts telecommunication companies from lawsuits stemming from wiretapping cases. But this is exactly the opposite of what Obama had said in the past, that he would oppose any bill that would provide such immunity. Obama's even flip-flopped on foreign relations. First, the Illinois senator told the American-Israeli Public Affairs Committee that he believed Jerusalem should not be divided.
Jerusalem will remain the capital of Israel, and it must remain undivided.
But less than 24 hours later, Obama apparently changed his mind yet again. In an interview the next day, he said, quote, "Well, obviously it's going to be up to the parties to negotiate a range of these issues, and Jerusalem will be a part of those negotiations. My belief is that as a practical matter, it would be very difficult to execute." Well, Senator, which is it? And let's not forget Barack Obama's promise to meet with leaders of state sponsors of terror without preconditions. He was unwavering when he was asked this directly at one of the Democratic debates.
I would. And the reason is this, that the notion that somehow not talking to countries
is punishment to them, which has been the guiding diplomatic principle of this administration, is ridiculous.
But after much criticism from both sides of the aisle, Senator Obama retracted his position and said he would only meet with the Iranian leaders if it could, quote, advance the interest of the United States. Obama also pledged to possibly renegotiate the North Atlantic Free Trade Agreement.
Will you, as president, say to Canada and Mexico, this has not worked for us, we are out?
I will make sure that we renegotiate in the same way that Senator Clinton talked about. And I think actually Senator Clinton's answer on this one is right. I think we should use the hammer of a potential opt-out as leverage to ensure that we actually get labor and environmental standards that are enforced.
But when Fortune magazine asked him to clarify his stance, Obama said he didn't plan to unilaterally reopen NAFTA. He said, quote, I think that sometimes during campaigns the rhetoric gets overheated and amplified. Politicians are always guilty of that, and I don't exempt myself. It seems the senator will undermine his own campaign promises anytime he thinks that it will keep him from winning the election. But of course, he has an answer for that.
This whole notion that I am, shifting to the center, or that I'm flip-flopping, or this or that, the other. The people who say this apparently haven't been listening to me.
So Barack Obama is running on the theme of change. He wants to change government, change foreign relations, change the economy. But it looks like the only thing the senator is really ever going to change is his mind.